It's almost the end of the month, and that means it's time for me to pick my July TBR. Hello everyone, I'm Rhonda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're brand new. So last month I did something a little bit different. I used ChatGPT to help me pick my June TBR, and I really enjoyed doing it that way. It was a lot of fun and it was different. But this month I want to go back to using my prompt jar to help me pick what books I'm going to read in July. Now you guys know how this video goes. I'm going to pick 6 prompts, and from there I'm going to pick books off of my TBR cart based off those prompts. And typically I do 6 prompts, and then I do a bonus book where I pick one random book title out of my jar of titles. But because there are some arcs that I need to get to this month, as well as a couple of new releases I want to read, and then I also have my summer TBR I need to mood read through. So I think because I have a ton of books I want to get to in July, I'm just going to do the 6 prompts and not pick a random book. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to shake up this prompt jar and mix it really well, and let's pick the very first book for July, and that's going to be Read a Book of the Month Romance. That's perfect because I have a ton of Book of the Month books that I really need to get to. So just looking at my Book of the Month books so far on my card, there's really only one that's going to match this description of it being a romance, and that is Pictures of You by Emma Gray. This one I think is more women's fiction with a side plot of a romance, but this is her second book that has come out. The first one is The Last Love Note. I think I read that a couple of months ago and I gave it 5 stars. I really loved it. That was her debut novel. So I think this one is going to be a 5-star read. I think I'm going to love this one just as much. And it just says, what would you do if you could start over? Imagine having a second chance with the one you never forgot. So I think this woman is in an accident, and I think she's in a car crash, and her husband passes away and she's in the hospital and she doesn't have all of her memory there, and someone for her past helps her kind of fill in the pieces. And I've been wanting to read this for a while now, and the cover just kind of screams summertime too, so I think it's going to be perfect. She's in, looks like a swimming pool of water. So the very first book that I'm going to read in the month of July is Pictures of You by Emma Gray. Let's pick the second prompt for the month of July, and hopefully I just got one. That's going to be a sad book. Oh goodness. Well, if you guys watching my videos, you know that I cry in just about every book that I read, so I think any of these books will make me cry. But looking at, oh, you know what? I have a few options. We're going to start with Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've read 3 of her books now, and I've cried in every single one of them. And I think this one is about a woman whose husband is in a helicopter crash, and he goes missing, and he ends up being presumed dead, and she picks up the pieces and starts her life over. And I don't know if she marries someone else or if she is engaged to someone else, but her husband comes back, and she's trying to decide what to do in that situation. So I think I definitely would cry in this one. And then another one is Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. I think, I want to say this might be a lit fic, or maybe it's just general fiction. And I think this is about a woman who is just starting over again after her husband's death. And there's a man that moves in next door. I think he is a baseball player and he has a case of the yips. I'm not sure. And I think this is just going to be a funny and possibly emotional read. I'm not positive I'm going to cry in this one, but again, I cry in every book, so it's a high possibility. And then finally, the last book that's a possibility is The Things We Leave Behind by Rebecca Yarros. This is a romance, and I think the majority of her contemporary romances feature the military. And it's told through alternate timelines, and it examines the risks we take for love, the scars too deep to heal, and the endings we can't bring ourselves to see coming. I've read one other contemporary romance by this author. I read The Last Letter and I bawled my eyes out, so I'm pretty sure I will cry in this one too. So out of these 3 books, I think what I want to read is One True Loves. I'm really trying to get through the backlist of Taylor Jenkins Reid. She has become one of my favorite authors. So the second book of July is going to be One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay, the third prompt for July is released last year. I have quite an extensive physical TBR of books that I want to get to. Well, what I'm going to do, I think a lot of these were released this year or in previous years. I need to go through all these books and see which ones I want to read that were published last year. And nothing on this top shelf, I think, were released. I think all of these were released recently, with the exception of One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I know for a fact this was released last summer. And Ruth Ware writes mystery thrillers, so this is another mystery thriller. And I think this one is about a couple who go to this tropical island and compete in a reality show, but people start dying and they're trying to figure out what's going on and also trying to survive. So this is a good option. I have 2 romances on my July TBR, and it'll be good to put a mystery thriller on there. Let me see what else I have. I don't know if I want to pick another romance though, just because I have a ton of romances on my summer TBR. Let's see. Okay, I have 2 books to pick from. I have the Ruth Ware One Perfect Couple book, and then I also have Bridesmaid for Hire by Megan Quinn. I think this is the first book of a new series. This was released last summer or possibly even that previous spring, but it was released in 2024. And with this one, the back just says, sometimes the wedding of the century calls for desperate measures, and sometimes those desperate measures are to pretend one person you hate most is actually your boyfriend. So this is going to be, I guess, fake dating and hate to love. But because I have 2 romances already on my July TBR, I think I'm going to go with One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. I think this is going to be perfect for July, and it's a mystery thriller. All right, moving on to prompt number 4, and that is random book off the bottom shelf. Okay. What I'm going to do is, I guess I'm going to, I don't know, can you see the bottom shelf? Okay. I'm a little nervous about this because a lot of these are fantasy romances, and I really want to finish up Throne of Glass before I read any new fantasy romance series. And you know what? We're just going to go with it. I'm going to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count these off, and then I'm going to have, I guess, Chat or Siri pick a number from 1 to however many number of books is on this bottom shelf. So this book is 1, this book is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have 13 books. I'm going to ask Siri to pick a number between 1 and 13. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 13.
It's 13.
Okay, she picked number 13. And that one is actually a new book that I just recently purchased. One of you guys recommended it when I posted my summer thriller recommendation video, and you said that you would recommend this one because it was really good, and that is All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I've heard about this author before. I've heard he writes really good, poignant thrillers and mysteries. And this one says, a black sheriff, a serial killer, a small town ready to combust. Titus Crown is the first black sheriff in quiet Charron County, Virginia, a beautiful place with a harrowing past. After years of working as an FBI agent, Titus knows that his hometown might seem like a land of moonshine and honeysuckle, but secrets fester under the surface. A year after Titus's election, his investigation into a shooting unearths terrible crimes and a serial killer who has been hiding in plain sight, given cover by the town's occasional devotion to the wrong side of history. Charron is Titus's hometown and his heart, but where faith and violence meet, there will be a reckoning. So I just think this is going to be a moving mystery thriller, and I'm anxious to try this author because I've heard great things about him. Some of his backlists I've been interested in reading. But yeah, book number 4 for my July TBR is going to be All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. Moving on to prompt number 5, and that prompt is, God, these papers driving me crazy. A one-word title. Okay, so I'm going to go through my cart and pick out something that has one word as the title. No. Does the word the count? I mean, nope. Huh. Well, that's definitely not it. I don't know if I have any. No. Okay. I do not have any. Oh, I do. Oh, I don't want to read it. Okay. I have to, right? The only book that has one word for its title, let's put this down here, is, I guess it's time for me to read it, but I just don't want to read it right now. Okay. Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the final book in the Powerless series, and I am not loving the Powerless series. I like it okay. The whole series as a whole so far is like a 3-star series. It's actually a little overhyped in my opinion. But this is the third book. It came out, I think, in May, and it's chunky. And I really don't want to read this right now because I'm in the middle of Throne of Glass, and I am reading Empire of Storms this month, and that's going to carry over into next month. And that is a very thick book, and it is a fantasy romance. Okay, we're gonna do it. It's the rules. So book number 5 that I'm not excited about is Fearless by Lauren Roberts. And the only good thing about this is if I get to it, I will finish the Powerless series and I will be done with it. So that is a plus in my eyes. But yeah, here we go. Fearless, July. We're gonna do it. Let's pick my final book for July. Please be a good prompt. And that is published more than 5 years ago. So something published, we're in 2025, so 2020 or sooner. Let me see what I have. I have YA fantasy, 2 mystery thrillers, and 2 romances. I kind of want to do something more of a general fiction, but all of those were released this year. There's a Catherine Center book. When was this released? Where's the year? 2019. Okay, this is an option. Try not to pick any thick books too, because Fearless and Empire of Storms are very thick. Oh, what about this one? This is 2020, so this is an option. And then the rest of these are newer releases. So I don't want to read that one. No. Okay, this one is 2023. Okay, sorry if the angle is off, but I had to switch out my battery because I didn't put a new battery in when I started the video like I should have. Anyway, I picked out 2 books that are on my TBR cart that I'm interested in reading in July that were published in 2020 or earlier. And that is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. And this is the first book in a series that he's written. And I've been wanting to read this one. This is kind of like a whodunit type mystery. And I think it's about some older people who live in a retirement village and they're trying to solve cold cases. And personally, I've been reading a lot of cozy mysteries or whodunit type mysteries that feature older people, and I've been loving them. So this is a good option. And then another option is How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. Catherine Center tends to write rom-coms or women's fiction with a side plot of romance, and her books are sometimes quirky and fun, but sometimes they are a little bit deep. And this is one of her earlier books, and I've heard her early books are more women's fiction. And I definitely have been wanting to get into her backlist some more. And I don't know, I don't remember what this one is about, but I think it's about a woman who has an accident and she's having to start over or something. I'm not sure, but this is a good option. It's just which one. I really want to read both of these. You guys tell me, which one should I read? I think I'm going to go with How to Walk Away, only because I love Catherine Center. I love her books so much. All of them I've read have been 4- and 5-star reads. And I think I'm really going to love this. And also with her books, they are so bingeable. I can sit down and read it, and before I know it, it's almost over. Like, I just fly through her books. They're so easy to read. And she also writes quirky and funny characters. So this is what I'm going to do. The last book for July is How to Walk Away by Catherine Center. Let's do a quick recap of the 6 books that I picked for my July TBR. The first one being One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, How to Walk Away by Catherine Center, All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, Fearless by Lauren Roberts, One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware, Pictures of You by Emma Gray. All right, my friends, these are the 6 books that I plan to read in the month of July. And I am pretty excited about this, but every time I do one of these videos, I'm always excited about the books that are on my TBR for that month. They are always just really well-rounded in which genres they are. And I have different genres. I have mystery thrillers, I have a YA fantasy, and then I have some women's fiction and romance. So I'm not upset about this too much, except for Fearless. That one's going to be a doozy. I can already feel it. But let me know if you've read any of these books, or let me know what you plan to read in the month of July. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you found it entertaining and enjoyable, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching and hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.